Top of the draft went exactly the way many people thought. The order for 2 and 3 was up in the air. Then it got really interesting. Our duo in New York offering their thoughts.
Kevin Nagani alongside Stephen A. Smith. A historical night in the NBA. Victor Wembanyama, the first Frenchman ever taken #1 overall in the NBA draft. 7'5", Stephen A. It's a new era in San Antonio. You had the chance to talk to him. You had the chance to interview him. We can't wait to watch him play. What was your first impression?
I've never stood next to somebody that tall in my life. I've never felt that small in my life. I'm 6'1". He's created a meme that's going to be attached to me for the next decade. But having said all of that, to be 7'5" and to hear and to see film of his ball handling skills, his shot making skills, for him to be that tall, I can see why everybody's been salivating over him, considering the talent that he has at that size. He's definitely a generational talent. You pray he can stay healthy, put some girth on him. He doesn't speak enough about the need to put on girth. I think that's a mistake. I think that's something that Greg Popovich and the San Antonio Spurs organization will address, because they certainly know what to do with their players. We know that. I think the future is incredibly bright in San Antonio.
Yeah, the previous 2 #1 overall picks by the Spurs, David Robinson, 1987, Tim Duncan, 1997. That worked out very well for the franchise and the direction. The other storyline, the draft changed at 2 and 3. The Hornets going at Brandon Miller. And then when you see what the Blazers did with Scoot Henderson, when you look at those 2 picks, what stood out?
Well, what stood out for me is when I talk about Brandon Miller, first of all, he was the right pick at #2. I don't look at him as a front court player. I look at him as a combo. He can play the 2. He can play the 3. I've seen his ball handling skills. I've seen his shot making ability. I've seen him create his own shot off the dribble. I've seen him in the open court. This is not a guy that's confined to the forward position. He can play some off-guard position for you, too, as well. So I think it was the right move by the Hornets. And obviously, we'd be negligent in neglecting to mention Michael Jordan's last move. He gave up majority ownership of the franchise. We wish him nothing but the best. This was his last move. I think it was the right one. Portland is incredibly intriguing because when you look at Scoot Henderson, his level of aggression, the way his tenacity, his shot-making ability, particularly in the mid-range, although he's got to improve that three-point shot, he goes after it. And everybody's been talking about his scoring prowess, his ability, and how Kobe was one of his idols. And you know what that mentality was like. To be a person that you're bringing there like that, if you're the Blazers, you didn't bring him there at 6'2" to play with Damian Lillard. We saw that years ago with Damian Lillard with a taller guard and C.J. McCollum. That didn't equate to a championship. You're bringing him in my opinion, to replace Damian Lillard. And I couldn't be happier. Damian Lillard is one of the great guards in the history of basketball. He's an elite scorer, long range, and he waves goodbye to you when he does it. He's a closer. And I believe you don't play on an average team at that juncture in your career. He needs to get out of there and be on a championship contender so he can have an opportunity to shine a spotlight on his greatness. I think Scoot Henderson's arrival in Portland is the beginning of the end for Damian Lillard as a trailblazer.
And we will see if we have some drama in the summer with those trade talks. By the way, free agency right around the corner. And you get this chance to see Wemby. We got basketball right around the corner. We're talking about the Summer League.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.